A secret connection. The thrill of being found out. A shared, private knowing just between the two of you, surrounded by people. Today's podcast is all about public play. Hello, my pets, and welcome into The Dungeon, the podcast for submissives to learn, grow, be entertained, and to ultimately find empowerment in their lifestyle. I'm your host, KatNash, the Music City Dominatrix, and today's topic of discussion is one that I find more taboo than most subjects, and that is public play. It can be incredibly sexy and intimacy building when following the basic yet indisputable, irrefutable rules of BDSM, or it could very easily devolve into something that violates the basic tenets of BDSM and kink and even the law. And it's not just important, but essential to understand the differences. So first off, what is public play? Well, it is exactly what it sounds like. Play, kink, or sex that is private or intimate in nature, done in a public setting. Now, this can be someplace very safe and designated for such things, a sex club or a dungeon, for example. There's still a thrill of doing intimate acts in a place where you might be seen, you might actually be watched. Whether that is the heady thrill of intercourse, knowing that you may have a fucking audience, or, being on your knees in submission and servitude. I feel like for men especially, there's just more weight to being in obvious submission in public. Men are culturally and historically conditioned to put on a certain front, to act and be a particular way. To be in public defiance of this conditioning and openly serving a woman not only takes courage, but is especially fucking hot to me, in my expert opinion, all right? Along with sex clubs and dungeons, safe zones for public nudity, sex, and or kink play also include some quote-unquote lifestyle resorts. Some nudist resorts are open to swingers and kink, but I feel the need to really emphasize here that many nude resorts, naturalist resorts, and beaches are not places that are open to kink or sexual activity. I wrote this podcast episode while wearing absolutely nothing but my earrings, poolside at a local naturalist resort. Anything publicly sexual is strictly forbidden here. You'll get kicked out real fast. I've been frequenting this spot for years, and I've never so much as seen an erect penis. And there are more men than women here. And this is exactly how it should be. Nudity does not equal sexuality. In order for these places to exist, this rule must be upheld. If not, it becomes an unsafe place for women and sometimes men as well. There's a beach, a nude beach in Miami that I frequent several times a year. I love this place. I'm in love with the sea, and being able to be naked on the beach and in the water is just such an amazing feeling. It touches some deep, primal, connective place within me. It heals my soul. It lifts my spirits. I absolutely fucking love it so much. I wish that I could be naked on all beaches and it wouldn't really be an issue. I also wish that men weren't such fucking animals. While I absolutely love going to the nude beach, I do not love the creepy fucking guys there. Now, not all of them. I've met and even become long-term friends with some respectful guys that I've met on the nude beach, naked. But far more often than that, I am disgusted with men's complete and utter lack of self-control. On a wide open, uncrowded beach, there will inevitably be 3 to 7 men who set up absurdly close to me. Yes, they may be 20 to 25 feet away, but when there's like 600 feet of completely open beach around us, that's too fucking close. Then to add to the decimation of my great time, they stare directly at me and touch themselves. What the fuck? There are signs all over the beach stating that sexual activity is not permitted, but I have experienced this every single time I've been there, including trips with men. I've brought 2 guys to the nude beach before, one trip with my sister, and even once with my mom. And let me reiterate for the dense morons in the back, nudity does not equal sex or sexuality. A woman being naked in your presence is not an invitation for you to sexually please yourself. I mean, what the actual fuck? How undeveloped can you be? And this leads me directly to the most important rule of public play. Do not do it if you could be non-consensually exposing strangers to your kink. So one time I was at the nude beach and I looked back and this extremely attractive, fit, young hottie was, 25 feet away, and he was stroking himself, looking at me. And I just shook my head no. Like, we made eye contact, and I just shook my head no. And he just stopped and sort of raised his hands in an apology. And, as weird as it is, I found that very respectful because, I could have been somebody who's like, fuck yeah, let's go, babe. I'm not into that. Like, that's not what I'm into, especially when I'm going to the beach and to be naked by myself, But he stopped. He was respectful. He was sort of like waiting for either a yes or a no. And it was a no, and he stopped. He was respectful. Like, if I don't act interested, he's going to just stop his advance. It's just like if you go to hit on a woman and she doesn't express interest. If you're not sure if she's interested in you, the answer is no, she's not. Leave her the fuck alone. If it is not apparent and obvious that a woman you're hitting on or interested in is not interested in you back, then the answer is no. Move the fuck along, okay? And the reason why oftentimes women are not very overt in their get the fuck away, I'm not interested. It has patently been dangerous for us, and still is in many cases, to outright tell a guy, no, I'm not interested. Guys get violent. I've had that happen to me so many times in my fucking life. You turn a guy down, even just a stranger in the street, you get called a name and he gets aggressive immediately. This is a typical thing that happens. So anyway, I'm going to repeat, do not do your public play kink if there is a high likelihood of exposing non-consenting strangers to your kink. So jerking off while staring at a woman on a public non-sexual nude beach is a big fucking no-no. You become a threat to her. It feels threatening. And it's an absolute violation. Guys, you may be listening and thinking, well, I would never do that. Good, thank you. But honestly, that doesn't earn you a medal or even my undying gratitude, because the truth is you're just being a basic, decent human. Now, if you are that fucking pervert jerking off on the nude beach while looking at girls, fuck you. Don't listen to my fucking podcast anymore. I hope you get ass raped by a fucking elephant. I'm fucking serious. Fuck all the way off, because you repulse me and I don't want you in my world at all. Now, if you're the decent guy who wouldn't dare violate women like that with your eyes, right? Fine. I'm not cussing you out. But you know who gets on my good side? The dude who sees another guy being a shitbag and does something about it. You go and say, hey, that behavior is unacceptable and you're giving us guys a bad rap. Because here's the cold hard truth, guys. If you're my listener, you probably are one of the good guys who's feeling the current judgment and weight of being a man in today's world. I get it. It's not easy. Because of those guys who are the douchebags. That's why. But those guys obviously don't respect women. So they're not going to listen to women or change their behavior based upon what women say and if they're getting called out by women. But who they are going to listen to is other fucking men. So yeah, it's kind of on you. Us women are standing up and protecting and supporting each other as much as we can, but we really need you good guys to start standing up to the assholes as well, okay? Anyway, kind of got sidetracked there because it's obviously a big deal that I'm passionate about, but let's get back on track here. How can you do public play without being an absolute creep? Well, first off, I personally think it's okay to jerk off in your car or maybe even in a bathroom stall. If you're partnered, you can fuck in a locked bathroom. There are sneaky kink things you can do where being seen is not likely. I've fucked in the woods, at state parks, on hotel balconies, on the beach. But in every case, I was hyper aware and cautious about people catching me in the act. Or I did it in ways that were really not obvious. And in order to know that I was having sex, you'd have to be like right there. I've seen TikTok videos of women wearing remote control vibrating panties. Now, these things are super fucking hot. I have the Lovense brand ones, but I have yet to use them. I love the idea. But in the videos that I saw, the women were walking around stores that had children in them, like Walmart and like a gas station where people are in and out all the time. And these women were loudly moaning and shaking and falling to the ground, orgasming. And this just strikes me as tacky and dangerous. But, even as I'm writing this, I'm reminded of a high school girlfriend that I had. She had this like medical issue, I guess, where she would spontaneously orgasm for no damn reason. I was jealous as hell because it takes a lot for me to orgasm, but she fucking hated it. And she couldn't help it, but she randomly moaned and shook and orgasm. So now that I'm thinking about it, I suppose it's all subjective. So this episode is one woman's opinion on what is okay and not okay in public play. And this can be your guidelines. Granted, one intelligent, wise, and insightful woman, but still it's my opinion. Except on the public masturbation on a nude beach thing, that's fact, motherfuckers. Anyway, I recently had a sub reach out to me wanting to actualize a particular fantasy of his. He dreamed of accompanying a woman shopping, assisting in holding her stuff, pushing the cart, etc. And he would pay for her purchases. This was a fantasy of his. So do I even need to say that that was an immediate hell yes for me? Not only did he push the cart and hold the clothes for me and offer his input when I asked for it, but my favorite part was when I was trying on shoes. I had him get down on one knee to take off my shoe and put on a new one each time. I just held out my foot and he dropped to his knees to serve in public. And it didn't look out of the ordinary to outsiders, just a sweet guy helping his girl out. But what it really was a submissive kneeling and serving very publicly. So shopping is a great opportunity for a little bit of public play. At restaurants, the dominant can order for both. This is really only unusual if the dominant is a femdom, because I've had guys order for me countless times in my life. Car play is another relatively safe bet. With my last submissive, there were very subtle ways that I would build tension in public with like a well-placed hand, whether that was a tight squeeze to his shoulder or hip, holding his wrist instead of his hand, or grabbing his jaw before kissing him. These were very subtle ways to exert my dominance in public that wouldn't raise any flags of violating consent in others. Another could be if they were wearing a piece of jewelry or a collar of ownership and the dominant just gently touched that or tugged on it, giving it a slight, a little like reminder of, hey, don't forget your fucking place, More obvious, but still potent, is having the sub wear something kinky under their clothes. Lace panties, hosiery, a bra, a chastity device, or even a butt plug. These are great if the sub is serving publicly. I recently had a sub take my absolutely filthy car to a car wash and to check its fluids. I had him wear silky sissy panties and made sure that they were poking out of the back of his cargo shorts before he left the loft. I love the idea of this tall, muscly, masculine dude bent over vacuuming my car at a very packed, busy car wash, which it was, with these bright pink silky panties peeking out the top, potentially very mortifying for him. I love it. It's also fun to give instructions out in public, either face to face, whilst like sitting at a restaurant or something, or via text message in public. A well-timed text right when that delicious dessert arrives, instructing him, go to the bathroom, wrap my thong tightly around your balls. It's not only sure to drive his little submissive mind wild, but also gives you a head start on that dessert, so you have to share less of it, and he'll be none the wiser. Win-win, you're welcome. There are really infinite ideas that you could do with subtle kink play that doesn't risk violating the consent of others. A hot one that just came to mind is if the femdom dips her fingers in her pussy juices and smears them on his lips. Like at a restaurant with a tablecloth, it would be super easy and quick to just reach up your skirt. It takes literally a split second, dip your fingers in, and then bring them to his lips with a little, oh, you've got a little something here. And then wait until he licks his lips and then realizes what you just did. Super fucking hot, right? There are the basic protocols of, opening doors, which to outsiders, it may look like he's just being a gentleman. But to both of you, it's a fortification of the submissive's status and servitude. The same goes with where the sub walks in relation to the femdom. Is it in front of the femdom, sort of paving the way, clearing the way for the goddess? Is it to the side and behind, as like I'm protecting and watching out, you're leading the fucking way? However it works for your dynamic. And then there are also my voiceless command protocols. I think I'm going to post them on my website for anyone to see and learn. And then there's also an option to purchase the poster, which I have it on the wall in my dungeon. But there's just something so powerful about not having to specifically tell a submissive what to do, but with a mere look or the flick of a hand, they know exactly how you want them to serve. That's fucking hot. And so these are just a few ideas. I've actually done quite a bit of public play with lovers over the years, but it was always in areas where the risk of exposing outsiders to our kink or sex was very minimal. If we were stumbled upon, it wouldn't be like super exposure traumatizing. For example, if I'm going to fuck in an alleyway, may or may not have done that before, I'm keeping my dress on and just having it hiked up, and I can be apart from him and covered completely in literally a split second. But honestly, the more subtle things are, to me, the hottest. The sub on his knees changing my shoes. The holding a sub's wrist instead of a hand. A slight hair pull while giving a little public peck on the lips. The instructions to go take a picture of himself in the Kroger bathroom, in panties. If you're straight up an exhibitionist, find local or vacation dungeons. Oh, I do want to say that not all dungeons allow nudity or sex. The local one in Nashville does, but I've been to several dungeon spaces that didn't allow nudity. So be sure you are informed before just diving on in. But couples resorts, you can find the spots from local swingers groups. I'm personally not a swinger, but I'm looking forward to checking out a lifestyle nudist resort that is sex and kink positive. I think it's mainly swingers that go there, but I'm looking forward to going and checking that out. there's a bit of a crossover in the communities, so you can at least look into options. And just remember that you're breaking the basic and essential tenets of BDSM if you're not doing everything you can to mitigate exposure to non-consenting people. But public play can be a great way to deepen your dynamic because you may be in public, but you're the only two in on the secret. It connects you, it builds your intimacy. And public play is super taboo because it's a challenge to do it ethically. But once you figure that out and hold that, like that's the main idea, you have to do that. Just have a fucking blast. I would love to hear your ideas or experiences that you may have explored in the realm of public play. Admittedly, I've not given a ton of thought to ideas outside of, the horny lived moments of my 20s when it comes to public play. So feel free to email me with your stories or ideas. My email is thewildcreatrix@gmail.com. And I also wanted to make you all aware of an upcoming opportunity for femdoms. I know that I have a lot of femdom listeners and couple listeners, and I'm going to be hosting an intimate, intensive called Stomping Into Your Femdom Areas, and it's for women. It's for femmes. This is going to be a Saturday workshop, a clinic. It's going to be a transformation, really. So for my femdoms who are ready to discover and begin embodying their own personal flavor of female dominance with confidence, pay attention. I'm going to have the info on my website ASAP. That's www.KatNash.com. And I'm going to have information on that. I'll also link some local hotels to make it easy if you're traveling here. And it'll be a full Saturday thing, including a trip to the local dungeon Saturday night, which is a private place, but I'll host my guests. So thank you for joining me this week. Subscribe if you haven't already. So I'll see you next time. And until then, stay kinky, my pets.